Alright, so this is my Primal hooch, and I let it ferment for about 30 days, and as you can see here, the color's kind of, it's clearing up. It's a little cloudy, but it's pretty clear, like when I bottled it up. I had this in there, carboys, I think is what they're called. It's to let the air escape, so you don't get any buildup. And yeah, I gave it a little taste and it's pretty good. I'm waiting to cool it down some. I've got 5 gallons here, and basically I made this with 100% organic apples. You crush them up and then you put them in a juicer thing. It was like a I want to say like a cylinder with a bunch of like a metal sieve. With a metal sieve, or it was like a metal sieve cylinder with a bladder in the middle, and that filled up with water and it pressed out all the juice. And I got it for free because it's for the farm I work for, and I helped them make some more cider. So yeah, I popped in a package of cider yeast and let it ferment. I got it in my basement here next to the heater. So it's been around like 70 degrees, which may have sped up the fermentation, because basically you put the yeast in and it bubbles, and then when it stops bubbling, it's ready. So it's hasn't been bubbling much for about a week, and I've just kind of let it sit. And I finally decided to bottle some for myself, and then for my fishmongers. One guy, he always takes care of me with oysters and scallops, so I'm going to hook him up with a quart, and then 2 other people also get a quart, and then one lady I'm going to give a pint. So yeah, you don't have to use a cider yeast. You can use a champagne yeast, which has a very stable temperature range, so you don't have to worry about keeping it, one like warmer temperature. Like with the cider yeast, it recommends to be a little warmer. The champagne yeast works. You just use like 1 packet should work for about 5 gallons. So you just throw a packet in there, and it might help to mix it up with a little cider before and then pour the solution in. But I just poured the packet in there, and I'd stir it up a little bit because the yeast would cake up around the sides. And yeah, it turned out pretty good. I was talking to someone who's getting into the diet. He works professionally for an ale house, a cider house, and he was telling me that they use the apples themselves for the yeast. But if you're going to go this route, which is definitely a more natural method, and might produce some more exciting flavors, subtle flavors, you'd have to keep the cider cooler, like 60 degrees or under, for the fermentation, because of the way the bacteria work for the fermentation. You might know this if you've been fermenting your milk, like especially if you can get unrefrigerated milk and you never chill it, just how sweet and delicious it gets when you just let it sit on the counter, as opposed to if you get milk that's been chilled 41 degrees or below that, and you let it ferment, turn it into kefir, it's going to be a little bit more sour. So, the temperature really matters depending on what kind of bacteria you're using. So something to keep in mind. Again, it's not good to drink. I don't really drink. I haven't had a drink since probably 2020, New Year's Eve. Knocked back a couple PBRs with some friends. And that was the last time I drank, honestly, that I can remember. Alcohol doesn't really have any health benefits. 4 ounces of alcohol, and that's 4 ounces of the alcohol, not like 4 ounces of beer, wine, whatever. It's going to damage your nerves, is what Augenus has said. Again, if you're going to be drinking, eating lots of fat, cheese, butter, cream, eggs. Actually, I take that back. I had some unpasteurized beer at a homebrewing family friend's house, and I had an egg and cheese with every glass of beer. I drank about 6 and felt pretty good. No hangover, but I felt like I wasn't sleeping well with the alcohol. But yeah, alcohol is good for dissolving hardened fats in the body, can cause a detox, especially something like this because it's a fruit-based wine. Basically is what cider is. It's apple wine. So yeah, I'm going to give this a taste. Probably have a quart or two tonight. We'll see. And yeah, looking forward to it. This is pretty easy to do. I got the materials pretty cheap, obviously. I got these glass things for $35 off Craigslist, so that was a nice find. Yeah, if you like to have a drink, it's pretty easy to do yourself, and you might want to explore that if you are into that. But again, I don't really endorse drinking. You know, this is not a healthful thing to do. I know this is kind of a health channel, but you know, I think, you know, it's nice to have something to take the edge off of life once in a while. So, cheers.